Hello, this is my third video on the if statement. We are going to expand it even more this time. For a quick recap, we have seen the if statement, which allows you to conditionally execute a block of code. We expanded with the else block to provide an alternative, so when the if body is not executed, the else body is instead. This was an either-or kind of thing, so one out of two options was picked. Now we expand to provide an arbitrary number of options, but only one will be executed. This is the else if part. I will just show three options here in my diagram. If condition A is true, code X is executed. If condition A is false, we then check condition B. And if B is true, then code Y is executed. And finally, if condition B is false, then code Z is executed. I previously had an example about checking the weather before leaving the house. So let's continue that one. And now consider this. If it is sunny, wear sunglasses. Else, if it is rainy, bring an umbrella. Else, if it is snowy, put on your ski. Else, if there is a flood, bring your inflatable boat. Else, I don't know, maybe just stay home. And then in code, the template is as follows. We start with the if statement. And let's just put the else block at the end. But then in between, if I make some room here, we can put an else if like this. And I can put as many else ifs as I want. Now, if you start to have too many, you might want to use a switch statement or switch expression instead, but that's for another time. Okay, so we have this chain of if, else, if, and so on. The program executes this from the top down, matches each condition one after the other until a condition is true, or the end is reached. If the first condition is true, that body of code is executed, and then all the rest is skipped. If the first condition is false, then that part is skipped and the next is checked. If that is then true, its body is executed and the rest is skipped. And so on until a true condition is found or the else block is reached. Remember, the else block here acts as a default case, or a last resort, you might say. But what if I don't want a default case, or the behavior of my program does not require one, or define one? Well, it is actually optional, so removing it is perfectly valid, like this. Okay, that's the theory. Let's write out a code example. So I had that example previously about an input number being positive or negative. But what if the input was 0? I did mention that flaw in my program, so let's fix that now. First, I read the input. Then I check if the value is positive, and if that's the case, I print out a message. Next, I add the negative case, my else block. And now I can sandwich in between the two my if else block, where I test if the value is 0. And let's just test. And maybe I should have printed out a prompt to the user first, but let's put in a positive number here. And rerun the program with a negative input. And finally the input of 0. And that's all for now.